Good evening, friends. Today we will be discussing the topic that is an operating system. Today we will be discussing the basic details about operating system, what is an operating system, and what are the types of operating system. And first of all, we will discuss what is an operating system. A big question that arises in our mind that what is an operating system? So if we talk about the operating system, is basically an operating program that creates a bridge between the hardware and the software applications that we use nowadays. So it's basically an interface that handles the tasks. Different tasks are handled by the operating systems and between the hardware and the other applications. So here in this diagram, you can see an application is here. Different applications are handled by the operating system. A keyboard, some of the inputs from the keyboard has been handled by the operating system. Mouse clicks has been handled by the operating system. Printers are there as other hardware devices which are handled by the operating system. Even a database, that is the memory from the hard drive, is being handled by the operating system. So in this template, you can see now here in this diagram, there are different users. Let us say user 1, user 2, user 3, up to the multiple users can interact with the application programs. Let us say in a text editor or a compiler or a database, or suppose you can say Microsoft Word or any PowerPoint application. When the user interacts with it basically it performs some operation. Let us say if we talk about the text editor, the user tries to form a document or a book on it. So when he tries to write the text, that is one such operation that is handled by the operating system, and that schedules the tasks and the processor performs the operations on it and gives back to the response and to the operating system, and operating system interacts with the application right now. And this happens very quick in fractions of seconds. Now let's talk about the types of operating system. First type of operating system that comes in the operating system is basically a batch operating system. You can see here there are multiple types of operating systems. Usually there are 8 operating systems nowadays we are using. And let's talk about the batch operating system. This type of operating system deals, this was an older system, but very commercially used. And you can see here job 1, job 2, different jobs which are basically a programs at that time when they were being used, and the operator makes these jobs. Basically they were actually the punch cards in the form of punch cards. These jobs have been inserted in the operating system manually through the operator. And the operating system, what it does, it creates a similar a batch of these jobs, of similar jobs, and then provide to the CPU, which is actually a processor there, which performs the operation and sends back the output in the form of punch cards. So this was actually the batch operating system. You can see here the examples of batch operating system where they were used in the payroll systems and in the bank statements. Now let's talk about the multi-programming operating system. This is one such operating system where you can see uh, different programmers are being loaded in the by the operating system into the ready queue memory of the processor. You can see in the process cycle there is multiple states are there. One is the start state, there is a ready state, running state, and the last one is the termination state. So in the ready queue, you can see multiple jobs. That means multiple programs have been loaded into the ready queue in the main memory, in the RAM. So that's the multi-programming, and that's this different putting the different programs into the main memory, that is the RAM, is done by the operating system that is known as the multi-programming operating system. So here you can see in the diagram, you can see multiple programs are here that is being loaded into the by the operating system, and they use different memory partitions are there, and they have been loaded. Different memories have been allocated by an operating system and in the RAM. Examples of such operating systems are Unix, Unix is there. Linux has multiple types of operating systems. Ubuntu is there, Fedora, Debian. These are the Linux operating systems, and especially Windows is there. Modern versions like you can see in 7, 8, 10, 11 versions. You can see multi-programming is there. Multi-programming operating systems are nowadays using by the users. Okay, they support also multitasking, which we will be discussing very soon. Now let's talk about the multitasking operating system. This is one such operating system in which multiple tasks are handled by the operating system and performing that actually improves the CPU utilization. The CPU is not idle here because you can see here multiple tasks. Let us say a browser is there. Sometimes a user, surfs, is doing net surfing on the browser, let us say Chrome. At the same time, he's using Excel application, forming some tables are there. And at the same time, he is using VLC, some other media player, let us say, singing some songs. These multiple tasks have been handled and controlled by an operating system that's known as multitasking operating system. And one such examples of these operating system is the IBM virtual memory or CMS operating systems. Second one is the time sharing operation option. Windows Terminal Service is one such examples of operating systems. Okay, let's move proceed. Here, multi-processing operating system. This is one such operating system. You can say, as the name suggests, the multi-processing operating system. It says that the multiple processors are being used here. That means a CPU is consists of multiple cores. Nowadays, you can see we see in different laptops are here that comes with multi-core operating system, multi-core processors. That's basically the multi-processing operating systems. Okay, those multi-processor operations are being handled by the operating system known as multi-processing operating system. Okay, you can see here in the diagram. um, you can see here the one processor has register, a cache, a memory management is there. There is another processor having same thing. Uh, these are sharing the same memory. But here you can see memory management is only one. So examples of such a multi-processing operating system is Linux is there, Windows, different versions, Explorer, 7 version, 8 version, 8, 10 version, 11 version. These are they support symmetric multiprocessing. Mac operating system is there. Unix systems like HPUX, AIX, Solaris, and VMS, that is Open Virtual Machine Systems. Virtual Open Machine Systems, these are the operating systems that uses the technique called virtual memory, sorry. So what is a virtual memory? Let me go through this virtual memory and we will discuss more how this multiprocessing operating system is basically how this works. They use technique called virtual memory. Virtual memory is basically a technique in which uh, it actually improves the performance of the computer by in which different tasks of having sometimes you have a task that has a size larger than the RAM. How will it be executed? It will be executed, will be performed by the operating system, usually the multiprocessing operating system. And what it does, it in the RAM is basically, suppose you have a RAM of 4 GB, so you need a task is being executed that is maybe more than the 4 GB size. So how will this may be there may be a problem of operating system crash or system crash. How you will execute this task? It definitely you will use memory, virtual memory technique, in which what will happen, basically the useless data in the RAM have been shifted back the hard disk to the hard disk, and this data is being shifted to the hard disk, and it creates a free space there which is being used by the active programs. Okay, is being used by the multiple programs. So this way, this has actually, and those programs which are being shifted to the hard disk will be bring back by an operating system when they are needed. So this is called the virtual memory. So this was something about the virtual memory technique. A small glimpse of it. Let's move to the distributed operating systems. Usually, don't go through this diagram. This is there is a mirror in it. You can see in the distributed operating system what we are doing here. Basically, there is one operating system that is being used by multiple computers. Single operating system is being used by multiple computers, and these computers have their own processors, own memories, and they share they this operating system, that's called distributed operating system. Suppose there are multiple computers there. You perform some task. Let us say you create a file in one computer, and distributed operating system handles this. Okay, this is handled by the distributed operating system. This distributed operating single operating system runs on the multiple programs forming a unified system. That's called a single unified system. That's why it is called distributed operating system. In which there is a single operating system that is being used by multiple programs. Okay, so suppose when you create a file, that is done by the operating system one computer, and suppose you want to fetch data from the memory, that is done by the another computer by another process. This is handling by the operating system. So such examples of these distributed operating systems are Locus, Micros is there, Amoeba is there. These are such examples of the distributed operating systems. Locus was actually invented by the UCLA, which is basically a University of California and Los Angeles. There it is being invented. This Locus operating system is being specifically using for research purposes and for you know the academic purposes usually, where you need a much high computational cost, processes. And Micros Amoeba is one such example that is being invented by the great author of operating system book, that is Tane Baum. Tane Baum is one such author and inventor who actually created this Amoeba operating system. That is one type of distributed operating system. Okay, this amoeba is faster than the locust or other distributed operation because of it uses bullet file system. What is by bullet file system? In which you can see bullet file system, it uses the in which the different type memory blocks have been saved into the contiguous blocks, memory blocks. Okay, which definitely improves the quick access of the file when uh, file read. Let's talk about the last one, but one of the type of operating system is called network operating systems. This is one such operating system that we are nowadays the most all around the world it is being used. This is an operating system that is on the internet, and it is used by the multiple clients, multiple users on the internet. Let us take an example of this type of network operating system is being used by the usually the companies, usually the organizations where they need a you know they need the operating systems. Okay, so let us say a company of Facebook that needs servers. Server is basically like a computer where you can see um, uh, some you store data, you fetch data. When you create an account on the Facebook, that is being stored on the millions and billions of year uh, kilometers away in some server. That is the server runs on that runs an operating system that known as network operating system. Okay, so this is the power of network system. You can say it not only stores the data, it gives you the security. Like let us say Google Drive is there, which is one such computer database, one such service using by the network operating systems, handled by the operating system, network operating systems that stores data. There is one such another organization that uses network operating systems to provide the firewalls, to provide the security. This is all done by the network operating system, but only over the network, only over the internet. So examples of such operating systems: Microsoft Windows Server 2003, Microsoft Windows Server 2008, Unix, Linux, Mac operating system, Novell NetWare. These are examples of network operating systems. Now, real-time operating is one another such type of operating system. as it is named suggested, real time. Is basically it needs there is a time bound execution of the processes. There are it has still two types of operating system. One is the soft real time operating systems and the hard real time operating systems. These are the operating systems that are usually used in the military, in the organization where there is much need of there is a much there is a small gap of time around where you need a computer systems that can act perform execution of the tasks at a certain amount of time at where and there is no compromisation of using more time. Let us say in the military, in the radar system, suppose you created created a missile system which is handled by the real time operating system. Well, if it is using by some other operating system, then it will take a lot of time to execute and to find the direction by the radar, and it will take a lot of time to find the enemies on the radar. Okay, and it will be misguided till the enemy gets mm, you know cross the and cross the boundary, and it gets you know this is the one such problem. But in the radar system, missile system, of this hard real time operating system are being used. In the diagram, you can see application is being handled by the RTOS kernel, and that handler that is interacts with the custom hardware. Okay, usually then this kind of interface you can see in the radars and missile systems. These are of the operating systems as a real time operating system. Examples you can see here, it is used in scientific experiments, medical imaging systems, industrial control systems, weapon systems, robots, air traffic control systems. So, okay, these are some types of operating systems that applications of these operating systems. Now, last but not least, the mobile operating system. Like as its name suggests, that these are the operating systems that are used mainly used in the mobiles or smartphones, that is, smartphones and tablets. Examples of such operating systems are Android and iOS. Okay, they provide an operating system, provide better hardware and software resources of the device, providing a platform for running applications, ensuring a seamless user experience. So that was all about the operating systems. Now, in the next upcoming topic, we will be discussing the kernel. What is a kernel and and system call and system initialization. So we will be discussing in the next video. Till then, goodbye.